Hello everyone, welcome again. So in today's class we gonna learn about the introduction to the plasma membrane. So in this series of classes I'm going to discuss about lipid composition and protein composition of plasma membrane, which is very important. Why? Because before going to topic of transport across cell membrane potential, cell communication, before learning those kind of topics we should know the composition, structure and function of plasma membrane. So let me go to the topic. This is the simple one, and which just give an introduction about plasma membrane structure. So plasma membrane provide a barrier to living cell. So just think, if there is no barrier, how we can define a living cell, whether it is a prokaryote, eukaryote? It should have a barrier. For example, take a prokaryotes like bacteria. Bacteria also must have cell membrane or plasma membrane, but some of the bacteria additionally having the cell wall, and some of the bacteria additionally having the capsule around the cell wall. Okay, and if you come to the eukaryotic cell, animal cells are lack of cell walls. Animal cells doesn't have cell walls, and plant cells, so which having the cell wall around the cell membrane. So the cell wall will give the rigid structure, but cell membrane is not rigid, which is very flexible structure. Okay, so what is the use of cell membrane or plasma membrane? Means it distinguish the inside and outside of the cell or organelle. So to differentiate the inside environment and outside environment of the cell, the cell membrane form a barrier around the living cell. Okay, and as well as it all, some of the cell organelles like mitochondria, nucleus, chloroplast, those kind of organelles also having the membranes. We can't say cell membranes, they are also having the membranes. We will call, if the membrane is present around the nucleus, we will call it as nuclear membrane, etc. So these membrane composition and the structure is also similar to the cell membrane or plasma membrane. So the early scientists defined that plasma membrane is a semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane means it can only allow some of the molecules, but a recent studies indicating that plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane. Selectively permeable membrane means it can only allow the certain type of molecules which are required for the cell, and which do not allow those molecules which are harmful to the cell. Okay, so it selectively permit the molecules to the inside as well as outside of the cell. Lysosomes, mitochondria, nucleus, etc. These are the intracellular organelles which are also surrounded by membranes. So you can see a 3D picture of plasma membrane in the right side, and there are proteins which are attached to the cell membrane, and the basic structure or the basic architecture of the cell membrane is phospholipid bilayer. So here there are two phospholipid layers are joined each other and forming a bilayer in which proteins are embedded. So the proteins are inserted within this phospholipid bilayer. Okay, and the function of the proteins in the cell membrane, for example, if you take the phospholipid bilayer is hydrophobic in nature. So the hydrophilic molecules, that means water related soluble molecules or water loving molecules, unable to cross this phospholipid bilayer directly or through diffusion. Okay, so that's why there are some of the proteins which are inserted within this or embedded within this phospholipid layer, which allow the water loving molecules or water soluble molecules to the inside or outside of the cell. So here the phospholipid bilayer with hydrophobic nature is also an important, because it does not allow all the molecules diffuse so fastly. Because for example, if you take a toxic molecule which is hydrophilic, okay, so it can't able to cross the phospholipid barrier, so it will help to cell to survive more. Okay, And membrane proteins connect with the cytoskeleton proteins at cytosol to provide mechanical strength. We have skeleton, that's why we have a stiff structure. Like that, every cell also having cytoskeletal elements which are in the form of microtubules, microfilaments and intermediary filaments. So these cytoskeleton proteins also attach to the some of the membrane proteins. So we will see briefly about it, some of the membrane proteins, and it provide a particular structure and mechanical strength to the cell. Okay, so membranes are not rigid structures. They can bend and they can flex in three-dimensional structure with maintaining the same biomolecule property. See, all the cell membranes are made up with phospholipid bilayers only, and some of the monolayers also we can see around some of organelles like lysosomes. Okay, the lysosomes having monolayer only, but the phospholipid composition, that means phospholipids are not only one type of lipids, there are different types like phosphoglycerides, phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylionocetal and cholesterol. There are different types of lipid molecules or the fatty acid molecules which are making the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. So each type of a cell having the different type of composition. That means so some of the cells are having the phosphoglycerides in the highest number, some of the cell membranes are having the cholesterol in the high form. So like that, depend upon the cell, the composition of the and type of the phospholipids will change. Okay, and what is the use of this bend and flex structure of cell membrane means, for example, if you see red blood cells in the human blood circulation, so they need to travel or they need to squeeze through narrow capillaries. They need to travel through narrow capillaries. So at the time it want to squeeze. So this plasma membrane structure, that bending and flexible properties, so making the RBC cells or the red blood cells to travel very easily through the narrow capillaries. And fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. So the fluid mosaic model, which is proposed by the Nicholson and Sanger in 1972. So according to them, if you think the phospholipid bilayer as ocean, the proteins look like icebergs. So in the left side picture you can see the same. So if you think the phospholipid bilayer, that white color bubbles you can see, the white color head groups you can see, if that is the ocean, and the membrane proteins which are called as, which are look like as icebergs in the ocean. Okay, so the thickness of the plasma membrane is nearly or approximately 3 nanometers. Individual phospholipids can move laterally and spin within the plane of the membrane, gives fluid-like consistency. So the lipids are not tightly bound to each other, or they are not covalently bound to each other. They are having the non-covalent interactions. So with the help of these non-covalent interactions, the lipids can move laterally, that means side by side, as well as it can spin. But here, see, there are two lipid layers here. Each lipid layer we can call it as leaflet. One leaflet exposed to the outside of the cell, which is called exoplasmic leaflet, and another leaflet which exposed to the inside of this cell, or we can call it as cytosol also. So that particular lipid layer is called cytoplasmic leaflet. So for example, if you see one phosphate head group from exoplasmic site, if it want to shift from exoplasmic side to the cytosolic side, it is impossible, because here you can see there are thread-like structures which are hydrophobic in nature, and a round ball-like structure which is the phosphate head group, which is the hydrophilic in nature. So it is too difficult a hydrophilic molecule to cross the hydrophobic barrier. So that's why the lipids cannot able to move directly from one leaflet to other leaflet, okay, but there are enzymes, I mean protein enzymes called flipases that can shift the lipids from one leaflet to the other leaflet, okay. And the non-covalent interactions between phospholipids and between phospholipids and proteins gives strength as well as resilience, that is elasticity, to the membrane. So here the non-covalent interactions are playing a major role in the maintenance of a structure of plasma membrane. So if you see, the phospholipids and phospholipids also forming the non-covalent interactions like van der Waals forces, ionic interactions, hydrogen bonding, hydrophobic interactions. But here we can't see any covalent interactions. Even the phospholipids and their attached proteins also forming the non-covalent interactions. So that we have already seen in the FRAP experiment. Because of this non-covalent interactions only, the proteins and the lipids within the membrane can move laterally and freely, okay. The hydrophobic core of the bilayer prevents the unassisted movement of water soluble substance from one side to the other. So unassisted means without any assistance, the water soluble molecules or the hydrophilic molecules cannot able to move from one side of the plasma membrane to the other side. That means maybe inside, or maybe to the inside of the cell, or maybe to the outside of the cell. So the water loving molecules or the water soluble molecules unable to move. But how a cells will get the water soluble molecules or water loving molecules? Even a water molecule also means, so there are certain proteins which are called integral or transmembrane proteins. So you can see in this picture the blue color, orange color and some dark pink color. These proteins are integral or transmembrane proteins because they span the entire membrane. So it can form a channels or pores to the water soluble molecules or water loving molecules, okay. So integral membranes will form a channels or pores, and it also act as a channels also. So they can easily transport the different types of molecules. And if you see the peripheral membrane proteins, they non-covalently attaches to the membrane proteins or lipids connect to cytoskeleton to the membrane. If you see the right side, the orange color integral membrane protein is attached with the peripheral membrane proteins. So peripheral membrane proteins you can see in the exterior side. That means in the exoplasmic leaflet also you can see peripheral membrane proteins. So that means peripheral membrane proteins will attach to the integral or transmembrane proteins, and these peripheral membrane proteins will help to cells to attach in tissues, because if you see in the tissue the cells will attach each other. So these peripheral membrane proteins will help like that, and it also act as the bridges between two cells to transport the molecules, as well as it also act as the receptors. And if you see the inside, the peripheral membrane proteins which also help in the intracellular signaling, as well as see one of the peripheral protein, membrane protein here attached to the cytoskeleton elements also. So we already discussed that the cytoskeleton proteins will attach to the plasma membrane through peripheral membrane proteins. So these will give the mechanical strength to the cells, okay. So phases of the biomembranes. So we need to define cytosolic phase and exoplasmic phase. So if you see a general cell, so cytosolic phase means that is inside of the cell. So the cytosolic phase we can call it as also the phase towards the cytosol. So cytosolic phase also called as intracellular phase, okay, intracellular phase also. So outside of the cell we can call it as exoplasmic phase. So directed away from the plasma membrane, which is directed away from the plasma membrane. But for organelles, because organelles present inside of the cell, so you can see here the for organelles the exoplasmic phase towards the cytosol. For example, if you see in this mitochondrial structure, the outer side of this mitochondria is nothing but the cell cytosol. Outside of the mitochondria is nothing but the cell cytosol. So the exoplasmic phase of the organelles, including single membrane organelles also, it looks towards the cytosol. Okay, and the cytosolic phase of the mitochondrion having the contact with the internal aqueous space, or we can call lumen. So remember that for normal cells, the outside of the plasma membrane we will call it as exoplasmic phase, and inside of the plasma membrane we can call it as cytosolic phase. But for organelles, the outside is the where the cytosol is present, and inside region of the cell membrane, inside region of the biomembrane around the cell organelle is called lumen, or internal aqueous space. But for vesicles, it will change, because for vesicles, the inside of the that lumen, the inside of the vesicle region is topologically equivalent to the extracellular space. So see here, the membrane is invaginating here, and finally it is pinching off and forming the vesicles. So the membrane is invaginating, and finally it is pinching off from the membrane, and it is forming a vesicle. So according to this picture, you can easily understand that the inside of, or the aqueous space or lumen of the vesicle, which is similar to the extracellular space. Okay, so the extracellular space, that orange color, outside of the orange color line, you can see the extracellular space of the vesicles is nothing but the cytosol of a cell. So with this picture you can easily understand that mitochondria, nucleus and chloroplast having two membrane layers. So they having two membrane layers, not bilipid layer. The bilipid layers only present in the two times. Okay, so the space between two membranes, membrane layers, which is called intermembrane space. Okay, and some cells have a long slender like extension of the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane only in some cells will extend, and it will form the cilium or flagellum that we can see in the sperm structure of animals. And this cilium or flagellum beats like a whip-like manner. Okay, so I hope everyone knows about this. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and share to your friends also. And if you can't able to understand my explanation, you can give a comment also, so I'll try to explain better. Thank you everyone.